Hey everyone, this is Jeremy Smith, the Jeremy Smith Academy. So welcome to the first podcast style that we've ever done on our channel. And I've got a guest I'm going to introduce, and then I want to talk for just a second and tell you why we're doing this. My guest today, though, is Vincent Grippi, who's the founder of Grippi Media, which I guess, Vince, correct me if I'm wrong, I guess you would describe your company as a boutique type marketing media company. I know you work with small companies like the Jeremy Smith Academy all the way to Fortune 500 companies. And like most digital media companies, you know, obviously you're helping people with lead gen and branding and really just accelerating their business. I know that you have also probably been on, well, I know you have, the laundry list of people of accolades and people that have recognized you. None probably more than Jeremy Smith Academy, as I'm obviously recognizing you because I'm bringing you on as my first guest. But welcome.
Thanks for having me, Jeremy. It's an honor.
So as I've been building the YouTube channel for about 5 years now, and it's really been a passion project more than anything. I've never made a dollar from doing it. But I have had a handful of different digital media companies try and help me with the build of this company. And every time, you know, it was a different scenario. I was with a couple companies that I knew were really smart, really intelligent guys. I struggled to even stay in the conversation with them. But we couldn't communicate. I didn't know what the hell they were saying. I couldn't really, the pictures they were painting, I couldn't quite understand, and probably vice versa. And I found another company that wasn't a problem with, but zero results. And so I'm kind of building you up here to kind of give you, you know, some accolades. But since I've been working with you, Vince, not only have we seen results like I never seen with anybody else, but I feel like we're kind of the same cloth. And it's nice to be able to communicate with somebody that you probably feel like you might go have a beer with, that we're speaking the same lingo. And I think always when you're talking about combining business with technology, that's always kind of been the problem. I mean, I used to have a quote IT guy when I had a big company, and he might as well have been speaking German when he was telling me what was wrong with my stuff. So I think that's a big reason why I've really kind of fallen in love with Grippi Media. And I'll set this up and then I'll give you the mic here for a little bit. But one of the topics that I've never really addressed on our channel is there are so many agents out there in the United States that are now getting with the times, 2025, and they're trying to use some type of social media to build a brand, or a lot of them are trying to do lead gen from their social media. Some of them are trying to recruit agents. And obviously I've got 5 years of experience in this, but I'm not an expert. I can't hold a candle in the wind to you. And so I thought you'd be a great first guest to kind of bring you in, and I can kind of roll through a lot of questions that agents ask me, plus bumps in the road that I learned along the way, and seeing if together we can make the road a little bit smoother for our followers.
Yeah, I think that's great. And first, I would just like to say I have to add your testimonial about having a beer with me to our Grippi Media website, because that's a new one, but I love it.
I want to talk specifically to the people out there that are maybe still thinking about it, or just getting into it, or not very far down the road into using social media to build a brand and attract people following them, whether that be recruits or whether that be lead gen. And so there's a lot of different platforms that are out there, obviously, through social media. Mm-hmm. Let me start there. What would your answer be if I asked you, you know, what do you think the right platforms would be to start with? You can't do all of them at the same time. So where do you start?
So I think I think it goes beyond social media. I think, you know, my response to the social media component is wherever your audience is where you want to be. So that could be Facebook. A lot of times, a lot of the older crowd will be on Facebook. You know, that tends to be popular if you're trying to sell something like Medicare Advantage or what have you. YouTube, second biggest search engine in the world. That's where you want to be as well. Video, nothing connects with your audience like video content does. And, you know, with the wave of AI generated content out there, you know, anybody could write a blog post, anybody could write a white paper using ChatGPT or what have you. Video, I think, is more important now than ever. Puts a face to the name and kind of puts a little bit more credibility behind the message. But what I just said earlier, second biggest search engine ever in the world, they're owned by Google, which is the first biggest, right? The far and away. I think they're at like 90%, 92% of market share for search. And search is a low hanging fruit one. It's an obvious one, especially if you're focused on like a local demographic or, specific areas of business. It's a no brainer to use search because people are using Google. They use ChatGPT and the like too, which, primarily runs off of Bing. That's Microsoft search engine, to specifically or literally search for your products, your services. They have questions, right? And you can answer them and you can look up what those questions are in the form of keywords and queries and answer them and be the resource for them. Especially, when people are searching within their local areas, it's a no-brainer to prioritize search.
Would your answer be different 5 years ago versus now?
In terms of the search component, absolutely not. But in terms of social media, I probably wouldn't have said YouTube yet. I think we've been using YouTube and helping clients use YouTube for a long time. And it used to be sort of, you would just jump in, get involved with video when you were more comfortable with the technical aspect of it, right? You know how to set up a mic, lights, basic lighting, editing, which is time consuming, etc. With the times, the barrier to entry with video between using a service like we're using right now, like Riverside, like remote studios, even AI for editing and transcription, the barrier to entry for video has lowered a lot. And I think the importance, the significance of video has increased. So if you look at a platform like LinkedIn, which is more like B2B, right? Or even Instagram, video is what's kicking butt. It's the number one form of content, right? Reels on Instagram, shorts on YouTube, again, shorts on LinkedIn as well. It's just kind of what everybody's getting behind right now. So I don't think I would have emphasized YouTube as much 5 years ago if I didn't think people could, just easily jump in and get started.
So let me ask you a very personal question for me. So I got, I guess, lucky because when I really started building the Jeremy Smith Academy, I started in 2019, basically. And a year later, we jump into COVID and the whole world shut down. And nobody was working. Everybody was on their pool watching videos on their phone nonstop. So we've seen this huge growth. I could put up, topics that I didn't even think were that good, and they'd get big numbers, way bigger numbers than sometimes what we put up now, where the quality is way better. And so maybe talk to that just a second about, you talk about the entry barrier being less because more people are watching videos. But would I be right in saying that you got to watch your P's and Q's a lot more now than you used to, as far as the content you're putting up, the equipment that you're using, the time you're putting into your videos?
Yeah, definitely. So I think one big thing has changed with time. And actually, that's a great starting point there. During COVID, during the lockdown, people had time. We had too much of it, you could argue. But now, TikTok has gotten bigger, right? YouTube has introduced shorts, which has taken off. Instagram introduced reels. Our attention span has shrunk. We don't have as much time. It's go, go, go. Everything's about efficiency. So I think actually now more than ever, not that this never mattered, but it's the quality of the content and how it's delivered definitely matters more than ever. Because sure, it might be easier to just pop open a camera, open your laptop, or set up your iPhone, right, and just record a video that way. But what you watch and what I've noticed over time, and I'm sure you could relate, is how many times, like even if it's something like once at my old house, we had a dryer break. And I was searching videos like, hey, how do I fix this dryer? It's like the band around the drum snapped. So I had to order a replacement one, whatever. man, it took a number of videos before I found a guy that just gets right into it, just tells you how to do it and just gets right into it, gives me the value I need up front, and I'm done. Too many guys, like you might be an expert, you might know even more than the next guy, but if you pop open a camera and you start getting, and there's nothing wrong with being conversational, but if you're too loose, you're not structured, and you're not thinking about how your audience absorbs information, and you're not valuing their time and their attention, you'll lose them, and the numbers will reflect that for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just use that as a way to explain to my audience. If you've noticed why my videos have changed, it's because Vince has been beating me over the head with a wet noodle for 2 months of get right into it so much quicker. And I get it. I'm no different when I'm watching videos that, I mean, literally, it's funny you say that. I literally, not a dryer, but my dishwasher just went out. I ended up watching a how-to from like a 9-year-old Indonesia kid, but he was boom, 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 doing it. It was, my wife was making fun of me, but it was perfect. So it's a good analogy. Okay, so let me ask you a follow-up question, to my first one of the platforms. I just got to feel that the majority of the people that are going to watch this and my followers that are interested in this topic, they're doing it for lead generation. Mm-hmm. So what I hear you saying is you would much more advise building a YouTube channel than per se a Facebook page. Or did I misunderstand you when you said that? I know Facebook used to be like 5-6 years ago. That's what the rave was. And then it seems like everybody's got that. So it's harder to make a splash now. Maybe
but look, all of the channels, I would say this, all of the channels, you can argue that they're oversaturated, right? Anybody could say that, but really what's oversaturated is people not jumping in and putting out good content. I think my holdup with Facebook is I don't think it's, and this is this could just be purely anecdotal, but Facebook, if you remember what it was like back in the day, I was an early advertiser on Facebook, working at a big agency in New York City, Fortune 500 companies were spending millions on Facebook a month. It now is not user friendly at all. If I ever even log in, it's just like, what is this like cacophony of like buttons and ads and things? I just don't even know what it is anymore. And also it notoriously has the lowest reach. I mean, like or amongst the lowest reach, like you're not going viral on Facebook. You're not really reaching many new audiences without ad spend on Facebook. Whereas, we've had clients jump onto a YouTube, the content's good. You do a YouTube short, you could get a couple thousand streams on something if it's strong and, it's delivered properly. So that's why I would say if you're jumping in, I would definitely prioritize like a YouTube, especially for the video capabilities over a Facebook. Also, another important, point is, again, going back to that relationship with Google, say, a video like this one, like where it's a longer form video, there's chapters to it, right? Like there's sections where we're talking about different topics. That stuff gets indexed by Google, and Google obviously shows preference to its own platform, YouTube. So when you're performing a search, like say it's like, hey, best, social media platforms for new agents to leverage or something. This very section of this video can pop up at the top of those search results. So that's another way people can find you. That's not really going to happen with the Facebook. It's just not.
All right. So let me switch gears on you for a second.
Sure.
Prior to this year, I had never done a short in my life. But I'm now, after working with you these last many months, and I'm realizing how important shorts are. We talked about that a second ago, that, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube, whatever it is, that's TikTok, that's kind of how people are viewing videos now. So if somebody's out there and they're trying to build, a brand or a site or a website or a social media following, whatever it be, what kind of mix should they be looking at from a short standpoint versus a long standpoint?
We have a practice that we kind of, for all of our clients, including ourselves, that we push, that we recommend, which is like try to get 1 to 2 long form videos out per week and 2 shorts for each of those longs. What we always look at shorts as is you can make an argument that maybe perhaps it's the level of engagement isn't as deep as it would be on a longer form video, meaning people just tend to just slide through a feed, right? With shorts, you could cut out in the middle of them, went a second into them, whatever. It's not that easy with the long form video. You have to exit the video or scroll to the other menu where the nav of videos are, the grid of videos are. But I always kind of look at them as like sort of a teaser for your channel, a teaser for your longer form content. Because like if you're just mindlessly scrolling through a feed, right? Like on shorts, for 2 minutes, something pops up, it's immediately grabbing you, it's interesting, and you see that it's tied to a longer form video. Me, 9 out of 10 times, I'm always going to click through. If it's something like that I want to hear the full discussion on, or I thought this was interesting, or to be honest, which is probably what happens the most for me, is when I see the algorithm serving the same person over and over, and I find them interesting every time. I think his name's Dr. Pete Israetel, weightlifting guy on YouTube. I'm big into exercise. This guy used to just pop up in my shorts feed all the time. And I started following him. Now I watch all of his long form videos whenever they roll out. I watch when he goes on other people's shows too. They keep showing up, and that recurring exposure, I guess, triggers you eventually. It connects. And as long, again, as the content's good, and you'll give them that follow, you'll become a subscriber. And who knows, maybe something more than that ideally, right? And then secondly, another way where you could use shorts where I think you can argue against, the whole, it's a lower engagement, medium argument is, I think that like, it's just like back in the day when people used to argue that from an SEO perspective, that if you were writing a blog post, it had to be between like 800 to 1,000 words. And man, even being agency side or being in-house, whenever we would like tell a CEO, hey, this thing that you perfectly explained in like 300 words or less, kind of needs to be 800 to 1,000 in order to rank. It's ridiculous. And you end up just adding a bunch of filler to it. It sounds like it was written by ChatGPT, right? So with shorts, they don't need, just because you get like, I think it's up to like 3 minutes now or something. You don't need to fill that full 3 minutes. You didn't need to fill the full 60 seconds when it was just that. If you have something really valuable you could teach somebody in 20 seconds, go for it. And that value sticks. They remember it.
Well, I feel like since I've been starting to do shorts, and I don't know, you're watching my back end more than I do myself, but it's sometimes my shorts get 100x the viewership of my longs. And so it almost feels like I'm bringing people in and introducing them to the channel through the shorts. Yeah. And then the real meat and potatoes is the longs once they're into the channel. Is that a good way to look at it, or is that just kind of accidentally what's happened?
Yeah, no, I that's exactly what it is. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. I just always look at it as like, it's like a teaser for your content and for your channel.
Okay. So I'll ask one more closing question then on the shorts. Should they be commercials for your longs, or should they be standalone messages on their own that, you're hoping somebody just, that message hits home and then that gets them to follow your channel?
I would say always aim for, depending on what you are, right? If you're a podcast, then they all basically have to be commercials. But if you're not a podcast, you're a creator, you're a business, you're something like even myself, a consulting firm. You want to mix it up. I will dice out shorts from my long form videos too, right? And then I'll go off and like there'll be a week where I'm only shooting shorts just from scratch. I write them to be a short and I want to communicate something important, but, concise in, again, 20, 30, 40 seconds.
So I'm going to say something there to all of the viewers. That's a lesson I've learned, that you said the word there of writing it out. For the first 4 years of me posting content and videos, and I always felt like it was always what I took pride in our channel, was that I felt like I had the best. If not, I'm up there as far as quality of content. But I know it all in my head. And a lot of times I could just go turn on the mic, turn on the camera, and I could just go talk. I might have an outline. And recently, what I've been doing because of you is taking a little extra time and literally writing out my script. Now, I'm not reading it on a teleprompter, but just that process of writing out exactly what I want to say and formulate it in my mind allows you to do what we talked about first today, of it being boom, 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 as opposed to taking too long to get to the points and you lose viewers before you ever actually got to the goal. You can pigtail on that if you want, but that's been probably one of my biggest lessons I've learned the last couple of months.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with that. I think I'm one of those people myself where if I know something really well, or I'm really comfortable with a topic, or especially if I'm like excited about a topic, just even talking about this right now, my mind, it's in a million places. Like I want to say everything all at once. And I mean, come on, like 9 out of 10 times, that's going to sound like word salad to people. And, they might grab little bits of it, but it's hard to follow. And for me, again, is I put extra emphasis on, hey, your time is limited. Your attention needs to be in other places too. You can't just watch YouTube videos all day, let alone mine. So I want to do you the solid of, hey, giving you the best advice in a concise and engaging fashion. I think that's the best way to do it. And I think that there's this conflation out there where people hear scripted and they think that means you're being inorganic or something, but it's not. I think, you shouldn't try to deliver. You shouldn't, just write a script that sounds robotic and uniform or templated or something like that. I think what's more important is that you're delivering the information that they need to know, and in a way that's friendly to being absorbed quickly, right? And making sure that, if you know your audience, if you're going to talk about something technical, which I do sometimes on my channel, how can I explain this to them so I'm not, tying in all of like the technical aspects of this topic, but, just highlighting, what they need to know. So there's actually really good advice I had read online before. It was, or I heard it on a podcast. It was, you don't want to dumb it down for your audience, but you don't want to give them more than what they need to know.
Yeah. And that's, in most of the compliments I've ever got from my channel in teaching and explaining marketing programs and systems and products and things with the insurance world is I've done a good job of keeping it high quality, but simple to understand. And I think that a lot of people viewing this, they're talking to their clients, which a lot of times are seniors, older people. And a lot of times in our industry, the difference between a good salesperson and a great one is the difference between somebody giving way too much information in detail versus enough to make them understand what they need to understand, but not convoluting with way too much information. And the videos should that you're putting out and the content that you're putting out probably should replicate that just as much as they do your sales process in a home.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's talk about this for a second, Vince. Talk to me about, all right, so somebody's building a YouTube channel. Let's talk for a second and talk with them about frequency, or what days they should do it, what times they should post, that type of stuff. Can you throw some advice out for that?
So
we talked about frequency. So we talked about the 2-to-1 ratio, shorts to longs. Is there a certain day that's better than another day? A certain time that's better than another time?
I promise you this. You could use ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google. Ask this question 100 times, you're going to get a different answer every time. Like there's research, people, they all do their own independent research because they want to be the page that you click to when you search this. But it really comes down to your audience. The biggest thing about marketing, and I love this quote, I don't know who it's from, but I've been using it my whole career. Honestly, it's the second you start making assumptions, you're doing it wrong. So true marketing and advertising is your A/B testing things. We've done this with your channel. There's times where I swear to you, I never would have released a new video on like a Monday or advised a client to release something on a Friday. The biggest podcast we produce, it's a top 10 healthcare podcast. It's been around since 2017. We release our episodes on Friday mornings. You would never really think that would be a good time to do that. I know content creators who find a lot of success with releasing things on a Sunday. The whole idea there is following the metrics, right? Following the engagement that you're getting from your audience. If you know that, hey, my audience, it seems like and YouTube will tell you this, any social platform will tell you this. Oh, this seems to be when I'm getting the most engagement. Like for me, a LinkedIn, it's got to be 10 in the morning. I've tried every other hour of the day. 10 in the morning just always works for me. It's not the same for every client. So I think what it is when you're getting started, it's about testing, right? Testing different topics, testing different times, days, things like that, formats. And you're always getting better, always refining based on, the performance, what the numbers tell you.
Okay. I'll make sure that this gets out to everybody because this is something you definitely beat into my head. But if probably the number one thing that you have beat in my head for the last 3 months is consistency.
Yeah.
And regardless of how many you're going to post or when you're going to post them, whenever you decide that, make sure that that's happening on a regular basis, come hell or high water. And I think that that's probably been the biggest reason for the growth that we've had over the last few months is making sure that we're putting out content every single week, normally the same times, but to where your audience can count on it. More importantly, to where the algorithm can count on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you can relate to that as a content consumer yourself. Think about how many times like you've liked a show or a podcast and it just takes too long between seasons, or maybe, a podcast like they post like 2 great episodes one week and then like you don't hear from them again for like a month or so. You could pull that off once in a blue moon, but I mean, you keep doing that, your audience, like A, the algorithms aren't going to favor you, period. But B, your audience is going to check out. Eventually, it's just like, oh yeah, this guy did another episode. Yeah, well, I found other great shows in the meantime, kind of lost interest in it. Me, I love knowing that a show that I follow or, a content creator that I follow is releasing something on this, and what that schedule is. It's the best way. And it's also, again, like when people know that you're on a schedule, it's the best way to make sure that they're making time for you. On, hey, that Friday, that's when we're going to see all of our streams because that's when we drop our new episode. That's when our followers are expecting it and so on.
One more thing that you've been talking to me about the last couple of weeks, probably worth mentioning too, is the scheduling aspect of your videos. You want to touch base on that?
Yeah. And that applies to any platform. But the idea is, when you're just taking like a video, let's stick with YouTube because we've been talking about them. If you just take a video, you just shot it today or yesterday and then you just go and post it, unless you have like a massive following, you're not going to see great numbers. And even then, you're still not going to see numbers that are on par with what you usually would generate on a good day. That's because YouTube has keywords involved in it, right? There's tags. There's a number of things that go into even things like thumbnails and the like. What you want to do, and especially if you chapterize your videos too, what you want to do is give the algorithm some time to actually process what it is and index what it is that you're going to be releasing. And I promise you, especially for shorts, man, every time I've gotten excited because I'm ahead of schedule and I could just get a short out today if I wanted to, and I publish it, it never performs. It never performs. But then when you schedule it, you give it at least like a 24 hours, what I would recommend, and is what I think is generally recommended. The system has time to process it out. The algorithm has time to process it and, kind of figure out who's best to serve it to, identify the tags and the like that. So I think it's super important to be prepared and operate on a schedule.
Okay, very good. Well, on that same note, how important is it for people that are just kind of in the first stages of building channels to worry about thumbnails, descriptions, tags, the things you just
Very,
mentioned.
very important. I think it's very important because, again, that's part of the A/B testing. And YouTube has a feature where you can you can A/B test your thumbnails. But usually, like, what you want to do, and they recommend this too, over time, change titles of videos that maybe you thought were strong but didn't perform particularly well. Change the thumbnails on them. I do that with my channel. Like, we have a very distinct branded look and feel for all of our cover photos. Same thing with all of our clients. Whenever we rebrand or we update, we'll go back and we'll change the thumbnails on episodes that were really popular. Same thing, like, say you covered a topic that's trending again, or there's been a new development regarding the topic. You could go back, change a title of an old video that still pertains to that topic, change the thumbnail, the description, anything, and bring it back to relevance, and it will get more play, undoubtedly.
Okay. So here's a bigger topic that I want to talk about, because this is something you and I have been going back and forth on so much. The topics that we talk about and how to choose those, and I'll use my example to set this question up, and then I'll let you talk more in a general sense. But the topics that I want to talk about, and I really get excited to, and I want to evolve my followers to be talking about, are not necessarily the topics that people are searching for on Google.
Yeah.
They're more micro topics that, I get more excited about. I'm kind of ready to get out of first and second grade and start talking junior high topics, but I've got a lot of followers that are still, in the elementary, for lack of better analogies. What's a good thing to say, or a good way to put it to all of these people that are watching this? They're in those beginning stages. Should it be about solely focusing on what's going to get the hits, what's going to get the views, versus the content that you want to be talking about? And is there a ratio that we should be looking for?
No, I think first and foremost, you should always pick a niche first. You should always focus on a niche. And you could do that, again, that could be geographic, demographic. It could be, life event, based on something like that. Like, say you want to appeal to somebody, people that are close to retiring or something. And think about the questions you need to answer. Those are always going to be, and you can research it using Google Trends. You could use, there's tons of different tools out there. You could use even a SEMrush or something, and just get an understanding of what those big questions are, those overarching ones, like you had said. Those are evergreen questions. They're never going to go away, but millions of people are answering them each and every day, right? You can't leave those bases uncovered. And in fact, you could argue that those topics, those questions, those are the things that maybe drive the most awareness, like they're more top of the funnel. But those micro questions, I think now more than ever, I would not ignore them. For a couple of reasons. One, obviously, they are generally more bottom of the funnel. Okay, so somebody just got turned on to your channel, or your, it could be your Facebook, your Instagram, whatever it is, because, you've been tackling broader topics. You might have hooked them. Okay, great, they're a follower now. You need to start working your way down to more granular topics, more specific topics, more expert level topics, and when you do that, I think you keep those listeners, those followers, whatever you want to call them, subscribers. I think that's really important. But another reason why I think it's also very important is because, let's just call a spade a spade. Google has been more or less pretty broken, and you can argue intentionally, for years now, where it tends to just, everything is based on very rigid keywords, right? And whenever you write something that's broad, it's always going to get more hits. Yeah, sure, great. And more exposure, but there's going to be more competition around it, like we said before. Writing a micro topic, as you had mentioned earlier, very hard to find something like that, right? There is no keywords for those, because the way those keywords are determined by something like, say, Google, is by volume. If a lot of people aren't searching them, they're not going to count that as like a recognized keyword. It's just kind of nebulous. It's floating, in between. But with AI search now, whether you use a Perplexity, whether you use Google's AI mode or ChatGPT, it does understand context a lot more in terms of search. That's actually one area where I think it has been most useful. Now, look, it's useful in getting you to the content that would answer the more micro questions that you'd like. But just like with anything with AI, I would not trust the answers you get at face value. You need to go and actually read the article and make sure, that you're understanding what's being put out there. But yeah, I think that's huge. And for me, as somebody, who's always searching marketing things, I'll search stuff all the time that there's just no keyword for. But I promise you, and just today, it happened earlier today, when I was doing something on owned media, I found another blog where this guy's just writing only micro topics, like very few high level things. I mean, they're there, the pillars are there, but immediately was like, oh, I'm following this guy. I'm subscribing. This is great. Like, cause he's writing about real topics for like real not just entry level stuff. And I think there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah. I think having a good mix is a good way to go about that. I've got an advantage over a lot of people, and is that I never created my channel to make money. I never created this to sell things or to get leads from it. But recently, obviously with your recommendation, I have tried SEMrush, which is a program that you can subscribe to. It's a couple $100, maybe 150, I think is the smallest version of it. But one of the things for those of you that are really trying to get followers and find and build lead gens is going and using one of those sites. I think there's some free ones out there too, but not only looking to see what the big topics that are out there people are searching for, but also compounding that and figuring out how many people are actually answering those questions that people are searching for. Because that's really where the sweet spot is finding topics that your clients or prospects want information on, but yet there isn't 100 people out there giving good information for that answer, right?
Yeah, that it also, you can get details around how competitive a certain keyword or topic is, right? To help, and what the volume is behind it, so you can kind of prioritize. But where I think it's really important, even though it's most traditionally just used for search and like search ads and SEO, is just getting a good idea of how people phrase things. Because even I think we had done a video together, right, on the health and life insurance exam, I think. And we were both kind of vacillating on, well, how would you phrase that? Like, what's the right title for this? And then when we did our research, like, oh, wow, this is undoubtedly how people are referring to this. So this is what we'll use. And that's where I think it could be helpful as well.
All right. So let's talk about the top taboo question here. Is it good to use ChatGPT for your content? I know that's a thing that I've got people right and left that they think it's amazing that ChatGPT can do all their work for them. And don't get me wrong, I've already done a video recently on the values of it. So I know it's got a lot of value even in this realm. But I think I have surely opened a door that you want to talk about as far as also the dangers of using ChatGPT to create content.
Yeah, I think, like, look, just to I think we said this earlier, but ChatGPT is free. All of these Gen AI is basically commoditized now. Anybody and everybody could just write blog posts using an LLM. So you have to take a step back and be like, okay, it's one of those things where it's like, well, if everybody's doing it, then not is it working? Does that mean like we can all just get rich and create great content all doing the same thing? And the answer is no. But moreover, it's actually causing a big problem online. I have a video coming out this week about that, where it's just AI slop, right? You're getting a lot of content that you don't know if you could trust it or not out there. You don't know if it's been AI generated. It could be thin on substance. It could be wrong, right? They're riddled with hallucinations. And as these models do get better, you do see that the hallucinations are becoming more frequent, or they definitely aren't able to tame them. That's for sure. Not yet. So relying on those tools, base level, absolutely recommend you do not. That sort of content now, especially, is penalized, right? So Google, they have people that manually will review your content, as well as their other automated measures that they take to review your content and grade it based on whether they think it's AI generated or not, how much of it was AI generated.
Wait, hold on. You're saying that literally the search engines, they're policing they can tell whether you use ChatGPT to form your script?
Yeah, so like, look, I don't know if I want to say it's policing is the right word. So whenever you're like creating content, right, it's in Google's best interest, especially right now with all of the troubles they're facing, and we don't need to get into that, like between with their antitrust trials, AI search becoming a thing, et cetera, and all the scrutiny that they've received over the years for having a lackluster product out there. It's in their best interest to clear that up. Same thing with the social channels too, because if everything out there is just, if you go to LinkedIn, you see everybody's all of a sudden an expert in AI. They're an expert in this, that, and the other thing, but they're saying the same thing or just thin, substance less stuff. It makes the platform less and less enjoyable. Don't even get me started on the DMs on LinkedIn, right? So what's happening is these channels, like something like Meta, right, for Facebook and Instagram, if they suspect that you've leveraged AI in the creation of your content, they will label that. And studies have just showed just recently that, by and large, the majority of people they frown upon seeing that content is AI generated, that you used AI to create your content. So getting labeled, might not sound like a lot on the surface, but you take those studies into account, and it is. It's a lot heavier than you think. And then also on something like Google, yeah, your tons of sites with their updates this past year alone have taken hits in visibility, content taken down, you name it, just when you're relying on tons of ChatGPT or, Claude or what have you to write your blog post. Now, like, look, if you do it for one or two blog posts, is Google coming after you? No, but a lot of these people, they're doing it at scale. They're cranking them out, and that helps you get caught a lot faster. But regardless, just taking a step back, I think it's, and we talk about this balance, you and I, about authority and expertise. And here's the problem, right? Authority, yeah, that perhaps that's your reputation, your visibility on a topic, that's your storefront, but it's your expertise. That's what's in the store. That's what you're selling. So if I'm going out there and I'm BSing people with, AI generated content, or just giving them something that's just, completely identical to what everybody else is saying, I'm not differentiating. And I'm kind of lying to them too, right? Because if you come through those doors and the expertise is not proportionate to the authority, then I have a real big problem. And then last but not least, I think it's insulting to your end user, because it's kind of like, well, you really weren't worth the time for me to like actually be creative and challenge myself to create something good. So here's some chat GPT for you, and that's my stance on it. Now, does that mean you shouldn't use it at all? No, like you can use it to, like I said, I tend to be verbose. You could tell in my responses here. So I'll use it to sometimes like, hey, is there a way where I could like trim down what I'm saying here? Can I refine this a little bit so it's not so wordy? I think things like that, it can help you with, and use it as a dictionary, use it as a thesaurus, if you will. But yeah, beyond that, you could use it for ideation too, but I would definitely not lean on it for creation by any means.
Yeah, I've found it useful. The last few months that I've really been using it, when I've got a topic, I'll see what it spits out and I'll steal ideas from it, but I make those ideas my own as opposed to verbatim.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a big question that I've had a handful of agents that have asked me. Again, I know a lot of people are trying to create lead generation. What is the right mix for putting content out, whether it be authority-wise, education-wise, or the ask? And what I mean by that is their end game is they'd like to find a prospect to sell insurance to, for example. So how often do they make that ask? Is it every video? Is it every fourth video where they're putting, so for example, I might have an agent that's putting education on how Medicare works and trying to accumulate a following of people, of seniors that are watching his channel to really learn how Medicare works. And at some point, he wants to put some ask in there of, call my company if you'd like more information so I can sell them a policy. But I feel like there's got to be a fine line there of a mix of how much content you're putting out and how many times you're actually asking from something from the follower. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't look at it as a mix, though. As you could tell from this episode, I'm not a big ratios guy. But I think what I would say is this is people don't like the feeling of being sold to, right? But they do love to be helped. They do love the idea of being empowered. So the way I always look at it, and this is hands down the biggest mistake I see with insurance agents for sure, is yeah. Okay. So maybe you've built like a good channel, or maybe, you've been putting out some great Instagram content, getting a lot of likes, but yeah, we're not turning that into, business, right? Or we're not turning that into any traction on the website. And why is that? So that problem is you're not investing in your website. Your website, again, like to go back to that storefront thing that we were just talking about, is like, hey, everything that you're putting out there on social, your content, that's the storefront. Your website that's a glance into the store. That's where people can actually make decisions, right? All the trust and everything is built on through your content, but the actual decisions, the hey, I'm going to call you, hey, I'm going to fill out this form, that takes place on your website. But too many agents do not build their website up so that it's a proper funnel where, hey, they're not a resource. That's the best way to put it. Their website is not resourceful. So there's no reason for people to go to your site. It's just because it's just like maybe a glorified, business card. There's no value in your site, and the call to actions aren't clear. If you're making videos, they're helpful, they're great, and you just say simple things like links in the description, or say, hey, you can always find me over at like grippimedia.com or something where there's tons of things for you guys there. They'll go to the site. If they find it great, they find it valuable, they will get in touch with you as long as you give them a mechanism to do that with, right? Like whether you start off with something just like a newsletter and then you work your way over to, hey, a free consultation, something like that. There's a number of different things you could do, a number of different approaches you can take. But the idea there is, you don't want to use your content as a place to like sell, right? Let them know that you have the site, let them know that it's a resource and how they can get in touch with you, but let them make their decision on their own. And I do want to say that I've done a great video on this on my own channel about, demand generation, the idea behind it, which is that, now, I mean, people have been using the internet for years for marketing. Like we get it. Like if I download this resource, I give you my information and you're going to call me. And then here we go. I want, I might not even fill out that form anymore because I'm not ready to talk to sales yet. When they're ready to talk to sales, they will talk to sales. They will talk to you, right? And that's the point there. If you empower them with the resources and the knowledge to navigate insurance or navigate these important decisions on their own, it's you that's going to be top of mind. But it's also your business to know where to take them, and your job to know to make it clear where they can get in touch with you, clear where they can make that decision and how they can make that decision. And that's where you see too many agents and content creators in general go wrong.
All right. So what I hear you saying there then is they need to keep in mind that their website is the car. The social media and the platforms are just the gas to get to the car. So is that a good analogy for it? That they have to keep in mind that what they're really trying to build is a website following, but they're using social media as a way to do that. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, I mean, so like the social media, that's just content out there, right? And you don't at the end of the day, you don't really control that. I mean, say, I don't know, like your channel gets closed down or the algorithm changes again, and like all of a sudden your content like isn't being seen, you're done. What about what do you actually own? It's your website. And your website, that's where you can engage with these conversations with people. You can offer them things. You can give them a mechanism to call you, a mechanism to fill out a form and tell you a little bit more about what they're looking for specifically, and where they can learn more about you. Your videos, your social media posts, that's not the place to do that. And you just kind of have to understand what each component, what their purpose is and how they serve, the greater idea of lead generation.
Got it. All right. So let me ask you a couple more questions. Let me ask you a big topic, kind of macro question here. Just what do you see the most common mistakes of people that are trying to start, digital marketing programs out make in the beginning before they meet somebody like you?
Yeah, so number one, definitely the website thing. It's not investing in what you own. I've told you this story before, but as a hobby, I produce music and DJ on the side. I've always done it for fun. At one point, I had 23,000 followers on Instagram, and that was like the sole way I would keep in touch with everybody and tell them about my new music and what have you. During COVID lockdown, I was DJing live on a live stream. I played a copyrighted song, which you could get away with now, but back then you couldn't. So they shut my whole channel down. No questions asked. Done. Could not get it back. And then there's 23,000. There's my main line to people. There's everything I quote unquote thought I owned, gone. So I would say having your own website protects you from things like that. That's where you can have things like a newsletter, other mediums to directly get in communication with your audience without having to rely on an algorithm and a third party platform. So I think that that's really important. I think the second thing is building the infrastructure that supports that. So what we just talked about earlier, having a way for people to get resources from you on your website, a way for them to convert on your website through forms and what have you. And then I think another big mistake is complete oversight, and this pertains to the website thing, completely just ignoring the idea of visibility on the web, discoverability, right? I've spoken with an agent before actually who was like, what should I do with marketing? I think, I'm good from a website standpoint. So like, should I do a podcast or something? And I just asked the guy, I was like, what makes you think you're good from a website standpoint? Cause I just did a quick SEMrush audit on you. Like you're not visible at all. You're not ranking for anything. If anybody was specific, like all their pages are like on index. So like if you go and search for that, like, insurance agent in like Westchester County, New York or something, you're not showing up, dude. So that's something that, you should definitely invest in is proper SEO. Even if be it just local, if you serve specific geographies, that I think what you said earlier is the idea of it's less about selling and more about educating when it comes to the marketing aspect, right? Again, people don't want to feel like they're getting sold to. You want to empower them. You want to build trust. I think that's important. And then I think probably the big one that people miss a lot of is, and this goes back to the topics we mentioned earlier, is actually listening to your audience, understanding what it is that interests them. It's easy to just look at a topic and recommend a topic because, there's a lot of volume behind this, or I'm seeing a lot of like fellow content creators, cover this topic. But what you should do is go a level deeper with your audience research and look up like, hey, let's look online. What are people saying about their experiences with agents and certain products? And what have they disliked about it? What have they found? You can use Reddit for that. You could find it on Reddit using Google. And what have you even used YouTube? See what these people are saying and what are the ideas and the strategies that are being passed around. And try to create with that in mind, try to address those pain points and try to be what they're not looking for and be everything that they are looking for. And that's a great strategy, even on the marketing front in general, because in marketing, there's a lot of guys and I think there's a great strategy. Go on YouTube, see what are your competitors teaching people? What are they saying? This is the way to do SEO. This is how you create good videos. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. How can I differentiate? Like, how can I give them something different and better? And that's another thing that I would apply here. Take a look at what, your competitors are doing, what they're saying, and make sure that you're differentiating. And last but not least, I mentioned this earlier, is focus on a niche. Start on with a niche, right? If I'm creating content, right, for let's say like my own channel, like it's marketing or something, it can't just be. I can't just be creating content for people who are marketers or getting into marketing. That's too broad, right? Like it's the spaces that I specifically function in, like healthcare, tech, right? And same thing should be applied here for agents. Like consider things like life events, consider things like demographics, geographic location, things like that.
Okay, well, that was awesome. Yeah, and I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking just a couple of minutes ago too, of not only doing the research to figure out what are people looking for, but comboing that with what's the competition doing.
Yeah.
It's a whole different angle. Well, Vince, I think that's a great topic there to kind of wrap things up on. I started by saying this. I'll close by saying this. I've had the best experience working with Grippi Media in 5 years of being in this business. Do you want to give your information out in case anybody else is looking for help?
Yeah, sure. You could head over to grippimedia.com to find me. We've got a great newsletter on there called The Grip that we update weekly. You can subscribe to it there. It's also on LinkedIn, and I'm also on YouTube. Just search Grippi Media and you'll find me.
Guys, if you're an insurance agent and you're trying to create leads or trying to find other agents, yep, that's your profession is insurance. But if you're trying to create social media or YouTube accounts, websites, things like that, that's also your profession. You can only be a pro in so many things. So finding somebody to help do the heavy lifting on that, I strongly urge you to do at some point in your process. Vince, thanks for your time, brother. I think that was awesome.
Thanks, Jeremy.
We'll definitely have to do part 2 of this at some point down the road.
Yeah, maybe we can make it live. Have people ask some questions while we're doing it.
Yeah, I love that. Let's do it.
It'd be awesome. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye.